Hey guys, so today I wanted to talk about something that has been a source of stress for us, and we didn't really advertise it at all. We didn't put it on Facebook or anything, but I know that I turned to YouTube to look up videos with moms to ask questions about things that are happening and find other people that are experiencing something. So I wanted to talk about our baby girl's difficulty gaining weight and some of the different things that have had to happen to her. She's only 3 months old now. We're still not entirely out of the woods, so to speak, but I do think we're on the right track and we're going to be fine. But I just want to share that this has been quite an adventure from the get-go. So, our little girl was born September 19th. She was 6 pounds, 15 ounces. She was born sunny side up. So apparently babies are supposed to be born with their face to the side or down. So she was sunny side up, so it's a little bit, I think, more difficult for the mom. It also means that she swallowed some amniotic fluid on her way out, which they had to suction out, and that did lead to some tummy trouble those first couple of days just because of that. I did begin breastfeeding from the beginning. That was my plan, and the latch and everything worked out. So, you know, I don't judge anyone for formula or breastfeeding. You have to do what's right for you and your baby and your life, and that's totally fine. That's not what this is about. But that is what I did at the beginning. And it was super stressful for me, for the record. So we went back 1 week later, and she was 6 pounds, 9 ounces. Now, they do lose some weight after they come out because they're used to just being given all of those nutrients and such, and now they have to kind of work for it, so it's a little different. So anyway, so she had lost some weight. I told them she's spitting up a lot. They tell me to watch spicy foods that give me gas, or give anyone gas, would give her gas, and dairy. She's only in the 3rd percentile for weight. So I don't eat dairy unless it's baked into something. So I don't eat any cheese, and I only eat milk if it's baked into things. And that's just how I am. So that's been the way I was the whole time anyway. So it still wasn't helping because she was spitting up a ton. And they say, listen, everyone thinks their baby spits up a lot. She's probably fine. Just keep it up. So we go for her, that was her 1 week appointment. So we go for her 2 week appointment. I'm still breastfeeding, she's still spitting up a ton. I'm not eating any of the things that they tell me not to eat, so she should be fine in my thoughts. She is up to 6 pounds, 14 ounces, so she is still an ounce away from her birth weight. They say she's now in the 2nd percentile for her weight. I tell them she's still spitting up all the time. They start to get a little worried. She's not gaining weight. And there were a couple times where it was projectile, and it scared the crap out of me. Like, it was like a fountain coming out of her. Came out of her nose. She couldn't breathe. She cried. She's the sweetest thing. She normally is just, like, super sweet. Really only cries for a reason. Like, doesn't just randomly. So anyway, so they, of course, scare the bejesus out of me, and we have to go to the hospital from there, right then. They call us a script and say, we want you to get an ultrasound done on her. There's something called pyloric stenosis. And it means that the opening of her tummy is not opening, and so she's not getting any or much of her formula or anything going into her belly. So if that is the case, there needs to be an operation to fix it. So we need an ultrasound to see if that's the case. So she's 2 weeks old. Call Sean, he comes home from work. We take her to the hospital right away, like this is immediately, get the ultrasound done, which is just terrifying because she's upset, I'm upset, she's crying even though she's the sweetest thing, but you know, you gotta kind of contort her, and they're trying to see something in her belly, and it's just really hard to do. So they finally are able to figure it out. They look, they tell us they're pretty sure she doesn't have it, but we'll get a call from the doctor later on, so we come home, and we get a call, she doesn't have that, thank goodness. So it's negative. That pyloric thing is fine, so formula is able to get into her belly, good news. But it still means we don't know why she's not gaining weight, and we don't know what's wrong. So from 2 weeks to a month, I introduce the transition of, I stop breastfeeding and I begin pumping and feeding her from a bottle so that I can monitor exactly how many ounces she's getting. And I also begin introducing formula for a couple feedings. I am under the impression that formula will keep her satisfied a little bit longer, and I'm hoping that maybe there's something just up with my breast milk that is just hard for her to take, and maybe she'd be better off with formula. So I start, you know, each day introducing like another feeding, or, you know, a couple days with one feeding, a couple days with two feedings, you know what I mean? Just introducing formula into her repertoire. She's still spitting up a ton. Nothing is changing, so I'm still stressed and nervous about that. We go to her 1 month checkup. She's 7 pounds, 12 ounces. She's now in the 1st percentile. They switch us to Pro Total Comfort. We're still on Similac. That's just what they recommended. They give us a bunch of samples. We are giving her a small amount very often. She's still spitting up. We go back. This is a couple of days later, maybe a little close to a week later. So this is like 5 weeks. She is 8 pounds, 4 ounces. She's less than the 1st percentile. They try Alimentum, which is like the allergy, like broken down, like milk broken down version for kids who have, no milk. And it is broken down. Okay, so Alimentum is the version that is designed for babies that have an allergy to milk. It smells like cheddar Cheez-Its. Terrible smell. More expensive than regular Similac, which is already expensive. And, lovely news, Alimentum does not, at this moment, have a generic version, in case you were wondering. So, we do that for 2 weeks. We go back for a weigh-in. She's still 8 pounds, 4 ounces. And so they are not happy. So they decide we're going to do an upper GI. So they give her Similac. We go into the hospital, because this isn't stressful enough. We go into the hospital. They give her Similac mixed with barium. She's great because she'll just eat anything. She's tried breast milk and like 3 different formulas up to this point. She'll drink anything. She doesn't care. So she drinks the barium. It's so hard to like hold her, and she has to drink the barium while they take like an x-ray at the same time, and I stay there to hold her and help and to try to see what they're looking for is any type of blockage in her GI tract, because she is going to the bathroom this entire time. She's going to the bathroom fine. For the record, her number 2s were not horrific for breast milk, but once you do formula, it smells like poo. Just telling you. Anyways, so we do the barium, so stressful. They check, she says the doctor will call you, but, you know, as an x-ray tech, I can tell you at this point, she does not have a blockage. Yay! One less problem. We still have our problem, but that's not the issue. So we go back to the doctor, and they say, that day, we go right back to the doctor. They say, yes, you know, according to the upper GI, she does not have a blockage. We'd like to do blood work. Go back to the hospital right then. I didn't know when they take blood from babies, because who knows how they would do this unless you're like a nurse or something. So we have to wait. We get into a little room. They have to prick her heel and squeeze it and get blood out that way. Not as much as you would get from an adult when you get blood taken, but enough to do, I guess it was like a general blood test. I feel so bad. She's been like so traumatized and tortured, but she's still the sweetest thing, and she's still developmentally through all this. She's still going to the bathroom fine, and she's still developmentally meeting all of her milestones. She's just tiny. I should mention that I am also 5'1". My husband is 5'6". She's not going to be huge. Anywho. So we get the blood work back, and her hydration, or however they say all that stuff, everything looks fine. Everything looks fine. She looks absolutely fine. So they're pleased, but it's still a mystery. So they give us the name of a GI doctor at CHOP. We live in the Philadelphia area. So they want us to make an appointment as soon as possible with a GI doctor for the baby girl at CHOP. So this is about when I'm trying to return to work. So my schedule is not as easy to go with. Anyways, we get an appointment as soon as possible at CHOP. He checks her out, same thing, developmentally fine. There aren't any obvious problems. We went back to the Total Comfort. The Alimentum was really expensive, didn't make a difference in anything with her, except it just smelled terrible and it was more expensive. So we went back to the Total Comfort, and that seemed to be working. We were feeding her every hour to hour and a half, and she was drinking like 1 to 1.5 ounces at a time, and that's the only way we could get her to keep it down at all. We were also doing all the things they tell you to, like keep her vertical as much as possible, all these things. So he suggests that we concentrate her formula. So We do 9 ounces of water with 5 scoops. Normally it would be 10 ounces with 5 scoops, so it's 9 instead. So we do that. She is still going to the bathroom fine, and she's not having any issues there. She is 8'6" at that point. And he says that if this doesn't work, we may have to look at admitting her and giving her a feeding tube so that it would just slowly drip formula into her tummy, and they would be able to monitor her more. So of course I'm absolutely horrified by this idea, because I do not want to admit my child when there's nothing actually wrong with her as of yet. They haven't figured it out. She just spits up a lot and she's tiny. Anyways, I'm just like really stressed and nervous, praying that doesn't have to happen. So we concentrate the formula, and she's still not putting on enough. So a week later, we go back, and he said she's gaining weight, but it's not enough. Let's add cereal, because we either need to add cereal or we should admit her. And I say, I really don't want to admit her. Let's add cereal. So now we do 1 teaspoon for each ounce. And we start doing 2 ounces of formula at a time. She is gaining. She is doing better. Currently, that's where we are right now. We are doing a teaspoon of rice cereal per ounce of the Total Comfort. We go back for an appointment in a couple of days, so I will shoot back on here and let you know how it's going. I really think she's doing better. We decided we weren't going to admit her. I have to go get her. We weren't going to admit her. If there's nothing medically wrong with her and she's still gaining weight, it's just slow. So I will come back and let you know how it goes with our checkup with the rice cereal, and we're continuing the rice cereal with the concentrated formula, just so you know. Hey guys, so I wanted to do the final check-in regarding Elizabeth's weight gain, or sometimes lack thereof. So she is now 6.5 months old. She had her 6-month appointment checkup at the regular pediatrician, and she was at 12 pounds 4 ounces, which was an increase, and that's all they wanted. They said that they just didn't want her to lose weight, obviously, or even to maintain. They just wanted her to be gaining, and I think that they are also coming to terms with the fact that she is just going to be petite. She just switched to 3 to 6 month clothing. Anyways, but she's great, healthy, meeting all of her developmental milestones. So it really was just bad reflux and a lot of spit up. And so some of the things that really helped were like getting the x-rays and the, the upper GI, the blood work. All of those things really just helped to eliminate any like medical, physical abnormalities or issues. So then it just left us with the reality of she has bad reflux. For some reason she spits up a lot and just doesn't eat a lot. So what worked for us after getting all of those things done was keeping her upright for as long as possible after feeding her. Taking frequent breaks in the process of a bottle and burping her, sometimes feeding her in smaller increments more frequently. And then we got to concentrating the formula so that there were more calories in it. So there was a point where we were doing 5 scoops of formula, which would normally be for 10 ounces. But we did 5 scoops of formula for 8 ounces, and then 9 ounces. So just to make sure that whatever she kept in had a good amount of, vitamins and calories and all that in it. And then we did adding rice or oatmeal cereal to her bottles. So we had to get larger, like nipples. We couldn't use the newborn nipples because the cereal wouldn't go through. So she's in the 6-month level 3 nipples now, and the cereal goes through. We have slowly decreased it, so we were told to just slowly decrease the amount of teaspoons. So it started out with 4 teaspoons of oatmeal cereal with 4 ounces of cereal, with 4 ounces of formula. And then after like 2 weeks, we switched it to 3 teaspoons of oatmeal cereal, and we switched from rice to oatmeal because the rice constipated her quite a bit, and the oatmeal cereal, according to what I read, has more nutritional like value to it, so it just made more sense to make it worth it, I guess, a little bit more. So now she is down to 1 teaspoon of oatmeal cereal for 4 ounces, and the 4 ounces are now, like, we slowly dialed it back, and now it is, you know, the regular 2 scoops for 4 ounces. So yeah, we just gradually changed it. The also, as she aged and was able to sit up more, her spitting up is less frequent and less extreme. She will still spit up a good deal if she spends a lot of time on her stomach, even her back, but definitely her stomach. Even if it's, you know, right before she's supposed to get her next bottle, it doesn't matter for her. She will spit up immediately after or 2 hours after. It is what it is. Also, since 6 months, we've been giving her food. The GI doctor told us to just follow whatever the pediatrician recommended, and they said at 6 months we could start giving her food. So we did that. So she now does various vegetables. We started off with just dinner, and now she does lunch and dinner, and then she has the same amount of bottles. So she's still averaging 20 to 24 ounces of formula per day. And her spit up, she still spits up, but not nearly as often or as much as quantity as she used to. So it's really wonderful. I'm so happy, and I'm so glad that she's been such a good, happy baby through all of this, because she still gets the Zantac. They occasionally up the dosage because it's done by their weight. So she now gets it twice a day as opposed to 3 times a day, because, to be completely honest, that was hard to do. It was just hard to remember 3 times a day to give that to her. It's also hard because she's getting smarter and she can move her tongue, and she like blows raspberries if you try to give her medicine she doesn't want. So if you have any tips on that, I would love to hear those, because she's getting a little sassy there. But everything is good, and we're just really happy that everything is just settled down and it's good and she's in a good place, and everything seems to be, you know, chill. So I hope that you didn't have to experience this journey with your child, but if you did, congrats on making it through, and wow, what an adventure. But how amazing are babies, and how amazing is the medical technology that we have now to help us. So thank you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed this and found this informational and helpful. Please ask me any questions below. I can answer just, you know, I'm not a doctor or anything, but just what happened as far as our experiences. Thank you so much for sticking with us, and I'll include a cute picture of our little girl right now, and thank you so much.